I'd like to talk to you a little bit about a product called Coco Coir. Now, Coco Coir has at least two uses in gardening. You can use it as a hydroponic medium, or you can use it as a soil amendment. You can add it to the soil. Now, before we get into that, what is it? Well, Coco Coir comes from coconuts. And so when coconuts are harvested, we have the hard outer shell, and then we have the stuff in the middle, the liquid and the coconut meat, if you will, that we're eating. And then all that stuff in between, the outer shell and the meat and liquid in the middle, that's the coir. Now, for many, many years, this was a waste product. Companies didn't know what to do with it, and so there was literally mountains of this Coco Coir just piled up in the tropics where the coconuts are harvested. And then people began to use the fibers for various things. You can use them for doormats and some plant holders. But in gardening, as I said, it's a great hydroponics medium, and it's also a very good soil amendment. Now, when they harvest the coir, what they do is they take the parts they use for the meat to sell, and then they're going to soak the coir in water, and they're going to let it dry for almost a year. Then after a year, it's compressed greatly, so it's easier to ship and move around, and then it's sent to you. Now, as a hydroponic medium, it's a very good one to start off with. It's sort of forgiving, and it'll look much like you're growing in dirt. You're going to have plants in pots, but they're going to be growing in coir. And coir has no nutrients though, so this truly is a hydroponic system. So you're going to have to provide all the nutrients to your plants through your watering. As a soil amendment, it is great because it increases the porosity of your soil. What that means is it's going to increase the pore space in your soil. This means water and the roots will be able to move easier through the soil. When you have fast-growing roots, you have a fast-growing plant. Coco Coir also absorbs water up to 10 times its own weight in water. So this means that by adding this to the soil, you're going to have more pore space so that the roots and water can move through it, but they're going to have water available to your plants so they'll never run out of water. It's also a good product to use outdoors because if you have a clay soil, it'll increase the porosity, allowing your roots to move through it. And if you have a sandy soil, the water holding capacity will mean that it won't dry out as much. So you can add this to any outdoor soil to improve the soil as well. Now, Coco Coir is very similar to peat moss, and if you pay attention, many top quality soils mixes that you buy have peat moss in them. So it's a very good product to add as an amendment. However, Coco Coir is a much better product, and I'll tell you why. Number one, this is a sustainable product. Peat moss, however, is actually mined from peat bogs, and these can take decades or more often centuries for this peat to form. It's not sustainable to harvest that. A coconut takes about 2 months to grow. So every 2 months we can get new Coco Coir. Also, the pH in the Coco Coir is not as low as it is in peat moss. Peat moss can have a pH as low as 3.8 up to 4.5. So you really need to raise that up to almost 6. Now Coco Coir has a pH of about 5 to 5.5, so you don't have to worry about raising as much. Now, no product is perfect, and that is one of the problems with coir is it does have a pH a little less than you want, so you're going to have to raise the pH a little bit, not as much as you would with peat moss. Also, Coco Coir tends to have calcium or magnesium deficiencies, and that's very easy to fix. All you do is add calcium or magnesium, and most growers are going to do that anyway. But if you're growing in coir, make sure you also get a calcium and magnesium supplement. Now I have some samples here you can see. Here is a little bit of the dry Coco Coir. This is how it comes. You can see some of the fibers in there and a little bits of coir. And here I've added some water. This was the same amount, but you see there's much more in here because it expands. And very much like soil, you can see when it's dry, it's a little bit lighter, and when it's wet, it's a little bit darker. Now, when you're going to order or buy the coir at the store, you're going to get a large brick of it, and I have that here. So here we have a very large brick of coir. It's very compressed, very hard. Now, a few years ago, when you got this, you would have to put this in a wheelbarrow or a large 5-gallon bucket and soak it in water. But how they ship it today, very clever, is they ship it in this little plastic bag. And so when you get this bag, you simply open up the bag and you're going to pour the water inside of here, and then over an hour or so this will swell up, and then you're ready to use the Coco Coir. So I really love this as a soil amendment. As I said, you can add about 40% of the material you're growing in can be Coco Coir. It increases porosity, so your roots are going to grow better, water's going to move better through your soil. It holds on to water so that none of your roots are going to dry out and die. And it is sustainable. So this is a great product. If you've never tried it, go ahead and give it a try. It's not that expensive, easy to use, and it's good for your plants.